We ended up deciding to like spice up our sex life and everything, and we ended up having a female-female threesome with him. So he got to pick another woman, and it was what it was. We did it. It was maybe a couple weeks later it got brought up. It'd only be fair if we had a male, and you.
Your age at that time you could marry him was that you had to be pregnant.
I was 15 years old.
The first day you had sex with Mr. Jennings. Day 2, Mr. Hardy. Next day and the next day, day 3 and 4 with Mr. Bryant. So there is another man who could very possibly be.
Mr. Dixon here insists that his relationship with Ms. Spruill was purely transactional, and as we all know, those sort of relationships never create babies, right? Anyway, here is what Ms. Spruill thinks of that nonsense.
It's not yours, is
Yes,
that correct?
sir.
Ms. Spruill, why is he?
Daughter, the next day it isn't, and I'm tired. I'm irritated. It's to the point that it shouldn't be called for. If this is gonna be your baby 24/7. Don't go back and forth.
So he's going back and forth.
Yes, Your Honor.
1 minute she is, 1 minute she isn't. Is that true, Mr. Dixon?
No, it's not, Your Honor.
Looks like you've got yourself in a bit of a pickle there, Mr. Dixon. Why would you check on a child that isn't yours? That does not seem like a clever thing to do, does it? Anyway, Mr. Dixon has more truth bombs to unload.
On this particular day, my family member wanted to present Skyiah around. So one day she went to work. It was like, she was like, hey, we're so excited about our newest family member, Skyiah. So she goes around showing pictures and, you know, excited about it, showing to our coworkers, her bosses and everything, except for one particular coworker comes out of the blue and was like, whoa, wait a minute, pause.
Wait, what? Mr. Dixon says another man's sister claims that the child does not belong to him but to her brother. That is a huge red flag if true. But then he says Ms. Spruill lied to him about having a miscarriage? Well, here is what Ms. Spruill has to say about all of that.
Co-worker telling his family member, that same co-worker got on the phone with me and his family member and let it be known his family member was mistaken. He wasn't even around. The other male let it be known he's lying. So when I sent Mr. Dixon the screenshot of these young men letting me know we never had any relations at all, the problem just diminished.
Okay, first of all, why is she screaming so loudly? There are microphones in Queert. Ms. Spruill and everyone here can hear you just fine. You don't have to start screaming. But more to the meat of the matter. What do you mean the father of your kids cannot reach you?
He can't have my main number. Mr. Dixon ran off Alabama when his daughter was 1 month old, to say he was working. He wasn't working. He was not working.
Yeah, I
you
moved
want
to
to know
Alabama to get a better job.
Oh, no.
To make more money.
Our
but
daughter,
it's constantly lies just coming from her.
One at a time.
Our daughter, it wasn't even 7 months.
Ms. Spruill may be destroying all our eardrums with her screaming, but you cannot deny that she is making some good points. This man went all the way to Alabama, knocked another woman up, and then started denying his kid? All for what?
All right, Ms. Spruill, you have evidence.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Jerome,
Sorry.
thank you. You say he accepted the baby at first, and this is your evidence to prove it. So this is his page.
And that is my baby girl. That is Skyiah. And he had other pictures of Skyiah on there as well.
And you claim he's accepting her. He's made her
He was
picture.
he was so happy.
You're saying
This isn't a court case. This is a murder. Ms. Spruill is taking Mr. Dixon to the cleaners and he's hardly gotten a word in. He does not even know what to say or do. This is crazy. He better bring something up real quick or the DNA test results will be a mere formality. But before he brings up his evidence, we have to know what happened during Thanksgiving.
so. Thanksgiving, they found out you were pregnant.
Yes, and after that, I became the devil. This wasn't his baby. This, that, and the third.
You so sure this is my child, but yet I'm not on the birth certificate.
You weren't there when she was born. What
That's
you
your excuse,
mean?
But yet
you
we kept
wasn't
talking
there.
about me putting myself on the birth certificate, and I even came up with money to change her last name. But you kept pushing it off. But you so sure this is my child.
Whoa, that is heavy. But the issue here is if Mr. Dixon is really the father of the child, his name has to be on the birth certificate. It is his right. It hardly matters whether he was there for the birth or not. Ms. Spruill has another excuse for this too.
The day we were supposed to go get a change, Mr. Dixon ran right back off to Alabama.
Lies.
Oh,
We
you
had
did?
plenty of time. I didn't leave.
You
I
were
didn't
there
leave
for a
time.
week. You was there the first week of her life. Me and Mr. Dixon are on good terms. He's daddy of the year. Me and him fall out. Skyiah doesn't exist. And that's what infuriates me more than anything. I don't care how you feel about me.
She has a point there. Anyway, it is time for Mr. Dixon to finally speak his mind and offer his evidence. Why does he think this baby isn't his? Let us find out if there are any big reasons for his doubts.
Come to a point when you instead of saying this baby got blood transfers, 4 or 5 blood transfers.
My baby has
the baby
a
got a
condition
brain
called
problem. The baby
VHD.
got a hole in the heart. Dang, this baby
She
got
has a
this
heart
much
condition
problem and
called
she just got
VHD.
here.
It's called vehicular heart defect.
This baby still got here. Why you still lying on this child like that?
The thing is, you would
crazy.
never come to the hospital, so how did you know I was lying?
And this is another
You
reason why I
wouldn't
know
even
she.
come.
Well, Well, at least we got all that screaming out of the way. Now it is time to find out the truth. Who is really the father of this baby? Mr. Hunt or somebody else? Only one way to find that out.
Mr. Dixon, you are the father. You are her father.
Thank you.
You feel relieved, Miss Spruill?
I do.
How do you feel, Mr. Dixon?
I'm excited. I have a beautiful baby girl. I'm gonna be the best father I can, and I'm just glad the truth is out.
Ms. Renfro says that Mr. Tuzi is a complete deadbeat and is running away from his responsibilities as a father to her kid. Mr. Tuzi replies that it is impossible to run away from a responsibility that isn't his, and here is how that train wreck starts out.
Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition.
He don't want to take financial responsibility. He hasn't been there. He wasn't there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, he wasn't there.
So Mr. Tuzi has not shown any care or concern about this baby, despite the fact that the baby has had to go through surgery at such a tender age? That sounds horrible till you hear Mr. Tuzi's reasons for doing that.
And I realized the baby just don't look nowhere near like me.
So you admit that you have not stepped up to the plate for the baby because you truly don't believe this child is your child.
Baby, look, the baby looks way too white.
Okay,
I'm white.
so Ms. Renfro,
I'm white.
listen.
Ooh, sounds like Mr. Tuzi found what he came for and wanted absolutely nothing to do with Ms. Renfro afterwards. And let's be honest, that is the move of a real deadbeat. No matter what Mr. Tuzi says, responsible men just don't do that. But this dude has an excuse.
I'd seen a few text messages from her random
From
ex-boyfriends.
friends. It wasn't
the
no
dudes
ex.
that she had sex with before, and I know this for a fact.
5 months prior to.
What did the text messages say, sir?
I really don't remember what he said. I just kind of glanced through it.
So wait a minute, you saw text messages which indicated that you may not be the biological father of a child and you can't remember none of them?
Okay, Mr. Tuzi, you need to give us something to work with here. You can't just insist you are not the father of this baby with proof you don't even have. Something has to be different here.
But only reason why I said it ain't my baby is because I was with this girl 5 years, and we was having unprotected sex, and I didn't get her pregnant. And not only that, about 2 years ago, me and my good friend, we had sex, and she got pregnant, and she tried claiming the baby was mine, and she got a DNA test.
Bold claim, Mr. Tuzi. He is basically saying that his gun may be firing, but the chamber is empty. So he has been sleeping with this lady for 5 years without protection, and he has also been doing the same with his girlfriend, and he is yet to have any babies. It is either this man is the luckiest man in the universe, or he is this baby's father. Anyway, this case is about to get a lot more interesting.
Were you intimate with anybody else during
No,
the window
ma'am.
of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected. And when I do have sex with
Then
people,
why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
because he's been there. Like, he took on that role. He wanted, that was his choice.
Really? I have seen a lot of cases on paternity court. And most times when another dude signs the birth certificate, it means that the dude may also be the child's father. But who knows? Maybe it is totally different for Ms. Renfro here. And still, Mr. Tuzi insists,
Don't look nowhere near like me. If the baby was mine, it'd be a little more darker than what it is.
Because you made it up in your mind.
No,
No, really, I mean, you're gonna testify about something. How do you know that?
just because, once again, multiple text messages.
But you still have no proof. Just because he's lied as
You can't remember the text messages. You don't know what they say.
Now Judge Lauren has Mr. Tuzi on the ropes. Everyone in court is doubting his testimony, but this dude just does not care. He has been through this before with his ex-girlfriend, so maybe he now has experience with keeping his cool? Anyway, there is one more twist here.
So, Ms. Renfro, there's zero doubt in your mind that your son's biological father is Mr. Tuzi.
I'm 100% sure that he's the father.
All right, I'd like to hear from your witness. Please stand, ma'am. State your name for the court.
I'm Kristen.
What relationship are you to Ms. Renfro?
This is my best friend. I've known her for like 10 years. She tells me everything.
Ah, so Ms. Renfro has her best friend in court today. This means they must have rehearsed what they are going to say, right? Even if she turns out to be lying, she must at least have gotten her stories straight, right? Well, let us see.
Dad, I believe her. I don't believe she's a lie. And if there was a possibility, I think she would tell me about it. Mr. Tuzi, he's a good guy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's doing this purposely because, like he said, she was texting whatever, texting a guy. Well, there was like somebody that she had slept with around time, but it was she was protected.
Hold on, don't gloss over that. Don't talk so fast.
Sorry.
You said there was a guy she had slept with during the time?
Wait, stuff happens. Really? This woman has told the court that there is no other possibility, and then her best friend says there is another possibility, and her reply is to giggle and say, stuff happens. So what happened?
How many men were you sleeping with when you conceived your child?
One.
Testify to that.
One.
Okay. So what's the one your best
friend?
friend remember?
Okay, yeah, there was a dude before I got pregnant, but we did use a condom, and it was, I don't know.
So are condoms 100% effective?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so the truth is, the real testimony is, you did have sex with someone else.
Yeah, that is the real testimony. Anyway, it is time to finally get that test result and see who exactly is lying here. Is Ms. Renfrow telling the truth, or did she plan on playing some crazy games?
Mr. Tuzi, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Oops. Calm down, Mr. Tuzi. Calm down. This ain't a stadium, and the child's life is truly at stake now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Renfrow,
Yes, ma'am.
that's not your child's biological father.
That's fine. That is fine. I'm okay with that.
Do you know who is?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dixon cannot believe that her husband would have the guts to even accuse her of paternity fraud. She might have cheated in the past, but she says all of that is in the past, and her husband should accept her for who she is now. Here is how that insane episode begins.
Mr. Hunt, you state you caught your wife cheating on you, and you are convinced you did not father 14-month-old Tanea. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your marriage. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, Ms. Dixon, you admit that you've been unfaithful in
In the past.
the
yes.
past.
Yes.
And you own that.
Well, that happens fairly often in paternity court. A husband leaves for a while and the wife gets bored. Then she decides that the best thing to do with all the free time she now has is to cheat on her man. But at least he did not catch her cheating in the act, right? It certainly cannot be in the act.
Okay, so when I walk hard, I hear the noises and I knock on the window and she blatantly give me the look like, and so what? You see what I'm doing?
And what was she doing?
Cheating. She was with the guy doing whatever she wanted to do.
So your wife
Right.
was having sex with another man in a car out front of your house?
Yes.
You were trying to get caught.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to be in front of the house.
Wait, what? He caught her right in the act? And she says she allowed him catch her because she wanted to get their relationship back on track? That is a mighty weird way to try to get any relationship back on track. So what happens next?
Due dates from the time I conceived her to the time they said I was due. I didn't sleep with him. That was a one-time thing.
Okay, but that's all it takes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know that.
That's true.
So you had sex with this guy one time out in front of the house.
Yeah.
Was it protected?
No.
So unprotected sex with this guy one time out in front of your house.
And that's how a lifetime of doubt starts. It is still crazy that some lunatic women actually cheat on their partners and don't use protection. I mean, at this point, you are just looking for trouble. So what goes down next?
And so at what point does the doubt kick in?
When I'm thinking about the time, and I'm realizing that I was gone during the whole month of June, and I got back basically July 1st, and
No.
she's trying to tell me that
He was there with me on my birthday, so
I left
how
for the
were
whole
you,
month
how
of
did
June,
you
I
get
did
back
not
in
come back.
July?
Wait, hold up. What does he mean he wasn't there but his brother was there? Why would that matter? What is Mr. Hunt trying to say here? Does he mean that Ms. Dixon was sleeping with his brother?
Wasn't even there for
So
that.
are you insinuating that you believe your brother could be Tanea's biological father?
It's a possibility.
Or what relation to the defendant?
I'm her aunt.
You are the plaintiff's aunt.
Oh, yes.
But wait a minute, Miss Cooper,
no.
hold on.
was there.
Miss Cooper,
What's your motive?
explain to the court.
This is insane. His own brother? That is the sort of craziness that you'd think is too imaginative even for TV. And now Ms. Dixon's aunt is saying that her kid may actually belong to her husband's brother. And oh boy, it gets worse.
And then me sleeping with someone who's blood related to him. What characteristics have I shown you as you being my auntie?
She admitted to it on couples court. She admitted this.
I admitted to it being a
this is
possibility of the guy I slept with not sleeping with
Okay.
your brother.
Okay,
that's overboard.
I'm trying to get all possibilities out of the way.
Well, you will get all the apologies you want, Ms. Dixon, as long as the DNA test results come out straight. And if they don't, well, you know what that means, don't you? Anyway, there is one more twist coming up.
Katisha Dixon,
And what is your relationship to Ms. Dixon?
her mother.
Okay. Now, who do you think is Tanea's biological father?
You just need to stay and mind your own business. That's what you need to do.
You put me in the business. I'm all the way here.
Ain't nobody put you in there. You being
Well, I'm
nosy
here.
and stuff. You act like you seen them doing it.
So hold on. So Miss
If the months don't add up, what are we doing here then? It just means that Mr. Hunt is definitely the father of this baby, right? That is all it has to mean. Anyway, let us get all the cards laid on the table. Mr. Hunt's brother is here too. Let us see what he has to say.
That indicates that you potentially could have gotten into a sexual relationship with Ms. Dixon and could be Tanea's biological father. Do you believe you are Tanea's biological father?
No, ma'am.
Do you admit to having a sexual relationship with Ms. Dixon?
No, ma'am. Past the cheating part. But what keeps bringing that up is the doubt that he has about his child.
Ms. Dixon wants this paternity results to help save her marriage and her family. The only problem here is that the test results may not save her family, but may actually destroy it. There is only one way to know.
Mr. Chris Hunt, you are not the father. Mr. Stephen Hunt, you are not the father.
Who is the daddy?
You are not the biological
No.
Who the daddy, Janae?
No, it's no possibility of nobody else being her dad. Except for the guy that I cheated with, but...
The DNA doesn't lie.
Mr. Wilson can bet everything he owns on the fact that he is not the biological father of Ms. Butler's 2 kids. Ms. Butler says that is a total lie, and she has been faithful to Mr. Wilson. This couple have 4 children between them, so you know the results of this test has far-reaching consequences.
Mr. Wilson, I'll start with you. You say you are adamant that these 2 children are not yours. Explain.
When we first got together, at the time she had the baby, she was a liar, cheating all the time, had multiple guys running out of the house, all on the internet. I mean, you know, go to the apartment, everybody talking about who she messing with.
So you say these kids aren't yours?
No, they're not mine.
That is a very strong way to describe someone who has 4 kids with you. This means that Mr. Wilson certainly has a lot of evidence to prove his case, right? Well, let us see. Let us see what Mr. Wilson has to say.
So let's start with Skyiah. Can you take me to the nature of your relationship around the time Skyiah was conceived? Where were you in your relationship?
She was living at home with her parents at the time, and one time I go up to her job to see her at work, take her some lunch, and I seen her get out of another guy's car. And I got her cell phone, and I seen that she'd been in a whole nother relationship with this other guy.
Hold on now, Ms. Butler. The things you are saying sound kind of nuts. Of course you can be in a relationship even if you are not living with someone. She says she loves him, but Mr. Wilson says that is nonsense.
I mean, I did love him though, I really did, but...
No, she didn't.
I did love you, but I just...
I mean, if you love me, you wouldn't have never called at work with another guy. And I read the text messages, calling him daddy and all that stuff, and yes.
One.
Her family didn't want us to be together because of age difference.
Okay.
You know, I understand that, you know. She sending naked pictures of other guys. The same picture she sent me.
You sending the pictures out?
Yeah, I did. One time I did, I can't remember. Yeah, I did do that.
You did?
Yeah.
So you sent some sexy pictures to your boyfriend and you sent the same pictures to multiple guys.
It was about...
Oh, if you want to get a paternity doubt, that is exactly how you get one. You start sending naked pictures of yourself to multiple guys. You really can't blame Mr. Wilson here. Any other man would think the same, but Mr. Wilson has even more evidence.
I was going to take a lunch, and she worked late, so I was going to take a lunch, you know, being a good man. And nobody couldn't find it. I couldn't find it at work. I looked up, she getting out of the car with this other dude and bumped right into me. She got her head down and bumped right into me. And that's when she dropped the phone. I picked up the phone, and I just pushed her out the way and left. And she screaming for a cell phone. I got in the car and left. And that's when I read the phone. That's when she calling the other dude daddy and all that.
Someone else, do you remember talking about their candy cane?
I know the guy he's talking about. I mean, I did see him, and we did try to have sex a couple of times, but we...
How can you try to have sex?
Yeah, Ms. Butler, that excuse just won't fly here. What do you mean try? You either do or you do not. There is no try. And the fact that you have even confessed to trying just means we should assume that you eventually went the whole mile. But wait, it gets worse.
I mean, we try to use the little condom, but we stopped, and it didn't happen. Like, he never or anything.
Let's say there was actual sexual contact, but he didn't finish the act.
Yeah, because I end up stopping.
And she talking about she wasn't gonna do it no more. And, you know, doing the line like she always do. She a habitual liar. And I thought we was being back together. So after we had the baby, you know, I thought we was gonna start all over brand new. It didn't she still did the same thing.
Wait, so they actually got naked, undressed, he put on a condom, the whole thing fit, and then went at it. But we are supposed to believe they did not get intimate because the man did not finish? Come on now, Ms. Butler, that is insane. Here is what Mr. Wilson thought when he found out she was pregnant.
In my back of my mind, I knew the baby wasn't mine. But I thought it was so many different men.
And so what do you say? Do you remember that day, Miss Butler?
Yes, I said the baby is definitely his. Like, I already knew it, like, the baby's his.
How did you know that?
Because, like, we will always have sex, like, all the time without no condom. And that time, I really wasn't really messing with anybody, really.
You really wasn't messing with anybody? Really? Really, Ms. Butler? That does not sound like what someone who wasn't really messing with anybody really would say. It sounds like you were messing with at least some people, but let us move on.
You even with him?
For real.
Cause I do love him. I
No,
just
you
don't know why. I don't know, but I really did love him though. I actually did. We'll always have sex like all the time.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we had my phone at the hospital, so I would have definitely had called him. So.
Oh, he wasn't even there.
No, man.
Cause my
That's
phone,
another situation.
I didn't have my phone around that time.
They got phones at the hospital. They got a way to get in contact. She had called me 3 hours later after the baby was
Wait a
born.
minute, you went to the hospital, you were in a relationship and you went to the hospital and had the baby without even letting them know?
Didn't let me know. The other guy must have been there.
Like I said, I didn't have my phone.
Really? What is she even talking about? 3 hours later? That is when she say it fit to let him know he was about to have a child? That is insane. Why would she do something so crazy? And hey, it gets worse too.
I gave the nurse came in and asked me what the baby's name gonna be. So she gave the baby's first name, and at the time I thought it could be my baby. So I told her the last name would be Wilson, my last name. So the next day, I go to the hospital because they took the baby to another hospital. Come back here, go back there, the lady gave us our paperwork, it's back Butler. So I asked her, I'm like, how's the baby
Because
Butler?
you've been denying the baby, that's why. So
This is crazy. Ms. Butler has put up no defense for her behavior, and she has basically made herself look the fool throughout this case. Hopefully, the DNA test shows Mr. Wilson is the father, because if it doesn't, then we have a real case on our hands.
it hurts, it's sad. Because I tell him all the time. He keeps saying the same thing. It does hurt, though.
It hurts in what way?
Cause like, he should know.
How should I know?
Like, we always have sex like all the time.
Are not the father.
Told you.
Ms. Davis says that Mr. Cole originally accepted her daughter Autumn, but changed his mind abruptly and moved out of the home. Now she wants to prove, once and for all, that he is the father of her child.
Mr. Cole, you admit to initially accepting Autumn as yours and even signing her birth certificate, but now claim that Ms. Davis is untrustworthy and sneaky. You say there are too many facts that don't add up and there is no way you are her child's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Davis, how does it feel knowing Mr. Cole is denying your daughter?
I feel hurt, angry, disappointed how he all of a sudden not claiming my daughter. He is the only man that I've been with since February.
So, Mr. Cole, you're not claiming the baby? You don't think it's yours?
Yes, I claim the baby. I still take care of the baby. And
You do?
yes, anything she asks for, I do for the baby.
Wait, so he is not really denying that he is the baby's biological father. He is just questioning it? Well, Mr. Cole says he has what we call sincere doubt in the business, and believes that doubt only goes away with a paternity test. What does Ms. Davis think?
Yes, I had met Mr. Cole at a basketball game, a homecoming game, and we had Google eyes with each other. We had exchanged numbers, and we had chill a couple times.
So you continue this relationship, and at some point you find out you're pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. After me and Adrian have sex a couple times in February, I have found out I was pregnant March 21st. I was 4 weeks pregnant.
Like a week later, and someone walked up to me. She wasn't even pregnant that long, and people were walking up to me saying that the baby might not be mine, you know.
Oh.
And then after a guy wrote her in her messages and was mad that she was pregnant. He wrote her right after she told me she was pregnant.
Oh, now that is nasty. Ms. Davia insists she was seeing Mr. Cole throughout February and says her dates match up. But Mr. Cole says that he saw a message where a guy texted her immediately after she told him she was pregnant. This means that she might have been seeing both of them around the same time. Here is what she says about that.
He was the only person I was intimate in February and March. My ex-boyfriend, I had stopped intimate with him in January. It was the beginning of January.
So, Mr. Cole, you then start getting people coming up to you saying this isn't your baby.
Yes, ma'am. And I was just start asking her questions about the guy. She didn't give me any credible answers that I could believe. So I was really having doubts, and I wanted to go get a DNA test myself, but I couldn't really get one.
You couldn't get the DNA test?
They wouldn't let me because I had signed the birth certificate.
Now, that sounds like a mistake. If you even have a silver of doubt, do not sign the birth certificate. Do not do it. If you do it and the baby is not yours, you might still be on the hook for raising the baby. But it isn't all Mr. Cole's fault.
Yes, I didn't initially sign it at the hospital because I told her after we had the baby that I wanted a DNA test. And she at the hospital and she got...
At some point, your name got on it.
Yeah, like 2 months after she was born. Because my family had got in my head and she looks just like you, that's your twin.
And you accepted Autumn as yours, or you still had doubt?
I accepted her as mine.
You did?
Yes.
Because your family had convinced you?
Yes, ma'am, but then like 2 years, she was about 2, she uploads a picture on one of her social medias. The same guy who wrote her when she first got pregnant writes her again and says, your daughter looks like my kid.
Really? That is cold. But what is this picture she uploaded on the internet all about? Why would her ex just comment that the kid looks just like his kids? Well, it turns out that Ms. Davis turned into Ms. Polster USA when it came to the question of paternity.
I did that because, like he said, people was coming up to him asking him was Autumn his, and I just did a split image of those three and was asking the same people who does Autumn look like more, because I'm 100% sure that Adrian is the father of Autumn, and I was getting other people's opinions and everything, and they all said that Adrian's.
Where would you get in your mind that you're gonna split screen your daughter's face with 2 different guys and send it out to take a poll?
That's what I said.
I was just mad and angry.
Who were you mad at?
I was mad at him because he was going around also and was telling people, oh, I have doubts that Autumn was mine, because people also was come to me and tell me that that Adrian's not.
I was going around trying to get a DNA test.
But he had signed the birth certificate at this point, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So he was legally Autumn's father.
Yeah.
And after that, you still split screened her with the other guy and Mr. Cole and was blasted it out to people saying, what do you think?
Yes.
That is the real deal here. Even after signing the birth certificate and all of that, Ms. Davis still went all split screenery trying to get if other people believed her child looked like her ex-boyfriend. That is the signs of a woman who is very insecure about the truth here. Anyway, we have a witness who is Ms. Davis's twin sister. Here is what she has to say.
What do you know about the timeline of intimacy as it relates to Autumn's paternity?
Let me just say, Your Honor, that Mr. Cole is a great father to baby Autumn. He's very active in her life. However, my sister did admit to me that she had sex with another guy 2 days before she had sex with Adrian. But that was just that one time, and Your Honor, and she been having sex with Adrian ever since February and in March, and he's just been there. So I'm 100% sure that Adrian's the father.
No, I did not tell her 2 days. I had sex with the other guy in the beginning of January. I didn't tell her.
That's 2 different statements. Beginning of January doesn't sound nothing like 2 days.
But I didn't tell her that I had sex with him 2 days before I had sex with Adrian.
Well, surely your sister wouldn't just make this up. She's called into court today to tell the truth.
But I didn't tell her.
Whoa. Did they not rehearse this testimony at home? Or is Ms. Davis's sister just making up lies here? But that sounds way too specific to be a lie. Ms. Davis insists this is a lie. Let's see if we can get more clarification.
I remember her saying 2 days before she had sex with Adrian.
So if that's the case, the 2 days before you started having sex with Mr. Cole would have been around February the 11th, and that would be the other guy. Why would a question concerning paternity or a conversation concerning paternity even be relevant or of issue where you would be having this conversation with your twin sister if there was absolutely no other guy in the picture ever besides Mr. Cole?
She knew about the other guy in January after I told her, but I did not tell her that I had sex 2 days before I had sex with Adrian. I didn't tell her that, but she also knew about the other guy before Adrian.
And you specifically remember it, Ms. Davis?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis will look pretty dumb here if the results eventually shows that her baby belongs to another man and not Mr. Cole. But Ms. Davis is a 100% sure that will never happen. Anyway, here is what she tells her twin sister.
Why your sister, your twin sister, would get up in this this courtroom and just make up a fabrication.
I don't know why she'd do that either.
That's what you told me.
I did not tell you that.
Oh well. I guess there is only one way to settle this, and it is by getting the DNA test results. Let us see if Ms. Davis's twin sister just came to court to make up impossible lies, or maybe something else is going on here.
Case of Davis versus Cole. When it comes to 3-year-old Autumn Cole, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Cole, you are not the father.
Mr. Avant wants to know if he is father of 7-year-old Jamitya, and Ms. Hatton says he should not bother. She is certain he is the father. She completely insists that he is the father and believes the DNA test will prove she is right.
So, Mr. Avant, how have your doubts affected your family?
It has affected my family tremendously, Your Honor. Me and Miss Hatton was engaged to get married. We eventually called it off. I'm connected to Jamitya like no other way. I have her name tattooed on my right arm on the inside of it. I've been in Jamitya's life since she's been born. When Miss Hatton told me she was pregnant, I asked her then, "Are you sure?"
No, he did not.
I did too.
He didn't.
She stated yes.
Who would say something like that?
I was told that it was a possibility that she might have had sex with somebody else. I also found messages on her phone showing that she was talking to her ex and telling him that they was gonna be together, she loved him. So this is an issue for me, because we're constantly going back and forth where she's talking to her ex and he is thinking that the baby is his. And at the same time, you're telling me that the baby is mine.
This is crazy. And remember that they are living together during this time too. They are under the same roof, and Mr. Avant is discovering texts from her ex talking about the paternity of his daughter. But it gets even worse.
Question her about it.
He did not question me.
And Miss Hatton said, "Why are you worried about the messages? I lay with you every night." And I said, "Yeah, this is true."
That is not even
But at
how
the same
this came
time that you're
about.
laying
Not
with
at
me
all.
every night, you're telling him
Not at all.
that
Your
y'all
Honor,
are going to be together, that you love him.
When it came up to me being pregnant, I lived with my aunt. Jamal came over that day because we took multiple tests to figure out, okay, I am pregnant.
This other guy, was he in the picture?
No, he wasn't in the picture. He was around asking about the baby. Are you guys gonna let me come and actually go to the doctor, since this is a possibility that I could be the father of her?
And how did you respond?
I told him I would talk to Jamal about it. Whenever I talked to Mr. Avant about it, he would go off about it. He's like, he doesn't need to be here.
Wait, did Mr. Avant know that this kid could belong to another person from the very beginning? And now she is standing in court saying that Mr. Avant is certainly the father. How did she get rid of her doubts?
I was involved. Me and him hadn't had unprotected sex since September. Me and Mr. Avant had, the first time we had sex was in October.
Was the 11th of October to be exact. And when we had sex on the 11th of October, at that time, we did have unprotected sex.
Yes, we did.
A couple of weeks later, Mrs. Hatton is saying that she's pregnant.
Mr. Avant was on the phone with me when I found out I was pregnant. He was the first person to know about it.
Okay, that sounds all well and good, but that cannot be the whole reason, right? There has to be something else, right? Was she not aware of the difference in dates when she was pregnant with the baby? Well, when did Mr. Avant start to doubt anyway?
Doubt.
I started to doubt in the beginning, and then I started to doubt more after I started hearing stuff from her family saying that she's not trustworthy, that some of the stuff she say is not true. It came up a point that the doctor, the first OBGYN, had gave us the first due date. That first due date was July around the 14th. She ended up switching OBGYNs and going into a new one. The new OBGYN said the date was gonna be August 25th.
That is so not true.
That's a whole 5-week window.
Not even true.
Wow, you got two different due dates that far apart?
Yes, but on the birth certificate, my daughter was born July the 16th. Now, my mom said, give or take days.
Evidence of
When a woman starts messing with due dates and things like that, you know there is something wrong with her claims. But let us hear the full story. Maybe there is some context we are missing.
In your evidence, you have presented a calendar to the court that shows what the first due date was supposed to be. It was supposed to be July 16th.
Correct.
And then you say the due date was revised
to the 25th,
of August.
It was
That is
revised
completely
to the
off.
25th of August.
That is completely off.
The new OBGYN also explained that your conception date didn't add up as well.
No, she said
So
my
the
estimated date that I put as my last menstrual period changed my due date from the 14th of July to the 25th.
Hold on, October 13th.
I had sex with Miss Hatton on the 11th of October. I know for a fact.
On the 11th?
Yes.
All right, so she remembers the 13th.
I got paid from work the exact same day.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
I mean, I can add my dates up.
If we hit calculate, you get the birth date should be July 16th, 2014. When was Jamitya born?
July 16th, 2014.
It seems that Ms. Hatton was correct. She actually gave birth on the right date, and all of that adds up. So what is Mr. Avant's headache? Why is he being so difficult? Well, it seems there is a reason for that.
The time because we was trying to break Mrs. Hatton water to go ahead and get Jamithia's hair. And what I mean by we was trying to break her water, we was having sex, she tried castor oil, she was eating spicy food. I even scraped the cervix to try to break her water.
Not true, Your Honor.
This is true. And then at the hospital, we was informed, yes, you are really in labor. Her doctor even came in and said, well, I guess your labor is gonna be early. I guess we won't have to wait.
No, she did not say that my labor was going to be early. She said, okay, she's about to come. My doctor didn't even come in to actually deliver my child until my child was almost here.
So let us get back to where we were. Ms. Hatton insists that her proof is that her daughter arrived on the right day. This means that Mr. Avant has to be the father, but that does not really prove anything. She could have cheated. So what about the birth certificate? Whose name is on it?
Is on it.
He actually, Your Honor, he filled out the birth certificate himself. I didn't see the birth certificate until I purchased it. Mr. Avant signed it,
because when
he
Ms.
wrote it out, everything.
When the paperwork was presented to us for the birth certificate and also for the legitimization paperwork, I asked Ms. Hatton, did you want to fill it out or do you want me to?
At this time, I said, I will let my aunt fill it out. He said, no, I want to fill it out.
Either you can fill it out or I can let my auntie fill it out when she come back up.
No, I did not.
And so I filled it out.
But if you had a doubt, why sign?
Exactly, why sign the birth certificate? Why did you get her name tattooed on you? Why have you been here this whole time? In the beginning, Your Honor, I told him from day one,
Jamithia,
if he felt like it wasn't his, he didn't have to be
It's not about me and Miss Hatton. It's about Jamithia.
It is.
I've been in Jamithia's life before she was born, and I'm still here. I'm connected to Jamithia, so it's gonna be hard for me to leave Jamithia.
Mr. Avant clearly loves this baby so much. We can only hope that the DNA test comes out and proves that he is the father. Anyway, Mr. Avant isn't done with making his own accusations.
Of our daughter, when she was sitting in her car seat, she was smiling, cheesing real hard. He did a picture as well with him smiling and cheesing real hard and posted it. What do you think about my kid, Your Honor?
And as a matter of fact, the picture, me and Mr. Avant were sitting at home on the sofa. He was like, "Hey, what you looking at?" I said, "I'm looking at this." I said, "Look at this. Look what he posted on Instagram." He
and
was
I
like,
spazzed,
really?
Your Honor.
Why are you letting him do that? Why are you letting him do that? I told him to take it down. What he said is Jamal shouldn't be so insecure when he knows it's his baby. Is what he said.
What is the purpose?
They look exactly
regardless
alike.
of whether the fact that's my baby or not.
Them looks just
what
alike.
is the purpose?
Your Honor, can I show you?
That is insane and places a lot of doubt on the paternity of this kid. It does not look or sound like Mr. Avant is the father. There are really too many red flags here. There is only one way to find the truth out.
Now I have to go back to my son and tell him, you ain't got a sister. You still the only child. I now have to...
Results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Avant versus Hatton, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Avant are not Jamithia's father.
Oh, God.